I have a stopwatch.
Wait. I'm gonna double check. I don't trust myself.
Do.
I don't trust my baby self.
Okay.
Are you really uncomfy because we are so close and we have to stay like this?
Yes.
Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, Human Vacation.
Welcome to our vacation.
What are we gonna talk about today?
We are going to talk about loneliness because earlier this week we saw the video from In a Nutshell, which we put the thing in the link down. Did we do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, loneliness is something that we've both experienced individually, and the video that we watched kind of made clear a lot of very interesting points about it and kind of made us think a little bit about our own experiences of loneliness, particularly living here in London.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kept getting that video recommended.
Yeah, it was weird.
On our accounts, like.
No, you showed it to me and I was like, I've seen this, it keeps coming up in my recommended, and I don't know what the YouTube algorithm, what they've put together from like the types of videos that I watch, that I obviously like have a gaping hole in my social life that possibly needs to be filled by other people.
I think maybe it was trending and then it kind of...
These people seem sort of vaguely unwell, so perhaps they might be interested in this loneliness video.
Exactly.
But it was good. Honestly, the YouTube video was
the algorithm works well.
Thank you, YouTube algorithm. But yeah, so basically, one of the really interesting things that I picked up on in the video is the fact that loneliness can be this sort of self-perpetuating problem. You notice that we're like holding hands while we're doing
because we are so close.
We're so intimate. What do you mean loneliness? But basically that it's like a self-perpetuating problem. I feel bad for letting go of your hand now. Okay.
Don't, please.
If you are feeling lonely and if you are feeling kind of excluded from the social groups you're in contact with, you actually become more sensitive to social cues. So you might interpret a neutral social cue as a negative social cue. And for me, I experience this a lot because, as you may have noticed, I talk really fast and I have a little bit of an accent. It's not very strong, but sometimes the combination of speaking very fast and speaking in a slightly different accent, people can understand what I'm saying, particularly here in London when people are from all over the world and you have people who English is their second language. And so oftentimes I would interpret someone looking at me in confusion as someone kind of looking at me with kind of like disdain, basically, and that would make me feel really bad, and I would feel like, oh god, no, I'm after really messing up here. And then that would probably make me less likely to try talking in the future, or I would just like trail off or like ramble off. And for them, that's probably quite a confusing response because they're already just trying to figure out what the hell I just said, and then I suddenly start like shutting down in front of them. So I really could relate to that particular point from the video.
It was interesting because basically it was saying that you interpret people's reaction in a negative way when you feel lonely, which the only thing that makes is you reject people, so you perpetuate the loneliness. But I think we should talk about how we have felt loneliness here, personally.
Yeah. If you like, you probably...
Can you hear that shit? Like, honest to God. Sorry, there's an apocalypse outside, but we don't care.
It's not an apocalypse, it's Peckham. It's where we live.
Let me explain. So I felt deep loneliness for the first time, because I think you have felt lonely before, maybe in life.
Before this year actually has been like for since I was in the art college, which is probably like one of the like best and most socially rewarding times of my life. Like this year, going back to uni again, I have like a really lovely group of people around me, and I see people every day and I'm talking to people every day, and I was working before this.
But did you feel lonely before coming to London?
Yes.
Okay, this is what I mean. I didn't.
Okay.
So I never felt this deep loneliness until I got to the UK, to England, to Nottingham, to be specific. Nottingham. I'm gonna give you the postcode. No, and it was very interesting because I'm from Spain, and I have always been surrounded by people all the time, even when I was at university. Being in Spain, it's a complete different concept. Also, London is massive. It's a massive place, so if you want to meet someone, you have to be like, okay, we're gonna meet Saturday at 5 o'clock. send me your postcode.
I'm going to bring food, I'm going to bring sleeping bags.
Exactly.
I'm going to bring out like a sled dog in case the trains stop working.
And you need to buy, or the internet stops working and you need...
Yeah.
No, listen, it's crazy. It's crazy because it takes ages to get to places. It costs money. It's an effort. It is an actual effort. If you go and meet someone, it's because you care. Because you otherwise you are like, fuck it.
Like, I have friends who live in Gospel Oak, and for us to go see them, we have
it's
to...
ages.
It's an hour each way, and like back home, it's like maybe a half-hour walk to go see someone.
Exactly.
They live very far away.
Exactly. So it's like, you're never lonely. I remember, when I was in Spain, I would just walk around and then, oh, my friend lives here. I'm going to ring the bell and I'm going to be like, hey, do you want a coffee? And then I go upstairs, we have a coffee. It's also a very Spanish thing because you don't have to give advance like, oh, I might come tomorrow. We don't care if you suddenly come in and I'm looking like shit and I'm in bed, it's like, oh great, someone is here, hi, it's great. Yeah. And coming here and not being able to do that, not knowing people, every time you move to a different place, it's a bit hard. I'm okay because I go and talk to everyone and then I have friends quickly. But the problem here is that it's so far away and everyone is so busy that when you get time out of another human, it means that they really care, they really want to spend time with you because they are making a massive effort. And that I felt extremely lonely. Even I was in a relationship, but the relationship was bad. So obviously I was feeling very lonely. It didn't matter if I was going back home and there was someone there because I was lonely. And that was even worse when you are actually going out with someone.
That's a very specific type of loneliness, feeling alone in a relationship, because the person you're seeing, the person you made your partner, should be basically that is a really specific and painful type of loneliness, because you think being in a relationship should be like the most intimate, close form of connection you can have, but it just, because it's kind of this like subversion of you should be closest to this one person, but there's this distance between you, it can hurt in a really, really specific kind of pointed way. Something I do wonder about sometimes is the difference in cultural backgrounds, because it does seem from like meeting you, I guess Mark, who's not Spanish specifically, but basically that it seems like that things are a little bit more slow paced, and that you kind of like, you have like the sobremesa, when you like sit at the table together afterwards, and that it's big, like established part of the culture to take time with people and not to rush from here to there. Whereas in London, like, you are always on the clock. You are trying to watch when the trains are going to leave. You are going to try and watch like how much time you have to get home because you need to go to sleep because you have to get up for the commute tomorrow morning, and the cycle repeats itself. So you really are like measuring out your time in teaspoons and like trying to make sure that like every moment has been like plotted out. You can't have these kind of casual encounters because there is no time, and you need your spare time just to like recover from like a long day of work.
Another thing that I think a lot is, if I wasn't with you, right, and then I wake up at 7 a.m, I have a shower, I have my breakfast, I leave the house at 8 o'clock, and then I go get the transport, and then it takes me around 40 to 50 minutes to get to work, and then I get to work and I work for 8 hours non-stop, I swear to God, and then I have a 1 hour break. I take a 1 hour break. That this is not even true. I know,
it seems like you kind of like now like become the ringleader to instigate your co-workers, so you force them to go outside and sit.
Because it's like, guys, it's like they don't take a break and they work for 9 hours. Why are you doing that? You have an hour break. You are entitled to have that. It's your right, and we need breaks. So you don't need to have like 1 hour break, but take like 10 minutes breaks around the day. So you can. People sit there non-stop looking at their laptops. Desks. I can't. I stand up, I look outside the window a little, or, I go to the toilet and have a PC, empty my bladder. I go have a baby snack.
Go to that phone room and pee in there as well in the bin.
Yes, I mark my territory around the office so other kittens cannot get inside. But I'm just saying this. We're talking about loneliness. Wait, I have a point. So you spend all day at work and you're surrounded by humans that don't talk to you because they are too busy. And then you are surrounded by so many people at the station and then on the streets, but no one talks to you. They are so busy. They're inside their heads, and you too. You become like them, and then you get
home.
home.
Put a bit of like a defensive armor as well, because like if you don't live in London, if you live in a big metropolitan where like there's a seriously jam-packed commute, it does kind of like you have to harden yourself up a little bit, because people are tired and they are not being the best version of themselves, and you will get like a nice like elbow to the face or a nice pile drive to the face.
You know what? But you know what? I extremely appreciate nice people, because I try so hard to be nice, to smile, to be lovely to humans, to talk to them.
It does touch you so much. Like some guy, like myself and another guy, like we're getting up out of our chairs at London Bridge, and we were both like stuck at this like weird awkward angle, just like looking at each other. And he's like, "You go first." I'm like, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, we're all in pain and suffering and lonely. Come here, just in case you came out.
So basically, no, I think so. Case in point, you are basically like your textbook extrovert. You really need other people to
yes, my love.
I
don't need humans, so I suffered so much. And I was thinking,
and it's so funny as well, because like it's like you have like a battery, and you need to charge it by being around other people.
Yes, I feel so sad when I don't talk to anyone for hours. I start to feel so sad, and like it's like it is so weird. It's like I need it. I truly need it, and it's horrible being here, because sometimes it's like I just want people to be nice to me, please.
But you think that in a place that has so many people like from all over the world, that it would be so easy to like make connections and talk to people. But I think that's a very unique problem to London, is the fact that people don't come here to put down roots and to live here forever. They come here because they are maybe like quite young and they want to advance their career, or they're really attracted to the culture. And then as people get older, they move out of the city. So people don't have like really established communities. They don't have like friends that they are gonna necessarily like live near forever. Not to say that the people you meet here you won't stay friends with, but it's just not the way that if you live in a smaller place that you get to know a community and you get to feel like you're part of where you live.
And it is great. It is a great place to be, but it can be very, very lonely in a very toxic way, and loneliness can take you to depression and worse things. And it is very, very important to know what advice would you give to someone that is feeling super lonely in London.
So this is something that, because on the other side of the spectrum, you're extremely extroverted and I'm really introverted, and introverts burn energy being around other people. Like even like your favorite people in the world, even you, like I need just like a couple of hours every day, and it's just like I need to ground myself, and it's not anything to do with that like your hard work to be around. It's more just like I am very focused on my interactions with other people. I'm concentrating on them a lot and like paying attention to them. What do they want? What am I trying to do for them? What are they asking me to do? Which is not necessarily what all interactions with people are, but I think that's just my predisposition to how I see interactions with other people. So I need time on my own to just get my thoughts in order, make sure that I've taken care of everything that I need to take care of. But even for introverts who need a lot of time alone, it's almost more dangerous for us, because we kind of like being alone, and sometimes being alone is easier than dealing with other people.
My love, this is a topic we could talk about. Introverts and extroverts.
It basically it can be a self-perpetuating problem, because you feel bad, you're on your own, you're kind of like, look, it's easier to be by myself than to be with other people because it's so difficult, and it just keeps going and keeps going. But a piece of advice, if you are shy and you are lonely, you can kind of, and also if you're on the outside looking in, if you're like if you're at work and it seems like there's a group of people who are really friendly with each other, and maybe like they seem like they've been friends for a while, you can kind of feel like you're intruding. But honestly, people just want to like have fun, and people just want to like be friendly, I think, and that like it's not as scary as you think. This might be so obvious for someone who like maybe like yourself that's like loves going up to people and talking to them, but for someone like me, it's like, oh God, no, absolutely not. Like I'm just gonna bother them, I'm gonna annoy them, they're gonna think I'm so weird. But just pick some like really safe topics of conversation. Talk about like Love Island,
but you know
or the weather, and those small interactions.
Even though what I'm thinking is the hard thing to find here in London is a deep connection, a real deep connection, because people are so scared of showing who they truly are. So you can talk to people, and I talk to everyone, but still they are not showing me who they are, because they are. Are you burning yourself on the lavender candle? No, I was pausing the video. they just show you this very
Superficial.
elevator conversation phase thing.
Is it different in Spain? Do people kind of get into like deep stuff?
No,
quicker?
the difference is that you have more time
to
and
build that
yes.
rapport with someone.
So it's so hard to build a deep connection here unless.
And it's kind of funny because like I've seen you so I've introduced Aida to some of my friends because I'm lucky enough that a couple of my friends from home have moved here, and it always kind of like it surprises me the fact that like you get into very personal stuff with talking to other people really quickly.
Because I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Okay, I accelerate the process.
It kind of disarms people as well. They don't expect it. And then they're suddenly kind of in a bit of a like more vulnerable way of speaking because you made yourself vulnerable. It doesn't work for everyone, and it's not easy to do.
It's not even that I've made myself vulnerable, because I don't feel vulnerable by telling people deep things or human things or things, saying things like I love you in front of people, or talking about you and saying I love her so much, she's amazing. That was like wow. Because people don't say that because they are scared or they think it's lame or they want to look like I'm cool. But
I'm so cool. I don't love my girlfriend. We don't love each other at all. So sick.
No, but listen, I just think it's so. I do accelerate that process because I'm not scared of people, and I know they feel pain like me.
Well.
Yeah, we are all like a bit weird, like trying to like what's happening. We are all a bit confused, so I'm not scared. I feel. I don't see people as like strangers, dangers, you know? I mean, unless it's someone like looks super dodgy and has a knife full of blood, then I'm
like a Jack the Ripper top hat and a cape.
Yeah, then
which we get a lot in Peckham, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but I always try to see, I don't know. Anyway, what is about loneliness? Say something about the video, like how loneliness can be so toxic that it can kill you, literally. No jokes. No, this is 100% real. This is
something
fake.
that you like see with like it's very obvious when you think about old people. Like my great grand aunt, my great auntie. She was a great auntie. Auntie Eileen, basically, she had very severe dementia and she lived on her own, and like my family would take turns to take care of her. Like she always had at least 1 or 2 visitors a week, but even so, that's 1 or 2 visitors for a small amount of time every week, and in between that she was on her own. And when you're not using your brain, when you're not talking to people, naturally like that can really encourage and make something like dementia much worse.
Yeah.
For younger people, where okay, we don't have dementia, we don't have Alzheimer's, but it can provoke and make worse things like depression, anxiety.
I'm so sorry. No, I heard a sound. No, okay, it's okay. Sorry. Have some water.
Okay, you keep going on.
No, what I wanted to say is, you know, have you never heard, because I have plenty of times, that a couple that they love each other so much and they are old and then one of them dies.
And the other one dies?
And the other one dies in a couple of months?
Deal.
No. I mean, that is because you are in deep sadness, you are extremely lonely, your children don't have time for you because they have their own children and their own things to do, and you just, I don't know, it might be
Sorry, this is making me laugh because that's not how I always interpreted that. I interpreted it as kind of like when women like sync their periods, that basically like you just become so synced throughout the whole course of your life that like when one of you, but your explanation makes a lot more sense, but I was just like, yeah.
No, that's not what
so
happens.
merging.
What happens, you could stay alive for more years, but you just
so like try to like lonely. Back off your partner as you get older, just in case, because you don't want to like pop it when they pop it.
Pop it. Love, no, you don't understand.
I really don't understand. I do understand. I understand now.
Like you become super lonely and super sad, super deeply depressed, and it's exactly what you said. You don't really use your brain, and then you just give up, and your body's old already, so you just go.
This is something that I think was like a big fear maybe when I was younger, about like, oh, I'm gonna be old and alone, because I'm not really that like wild about having kids potentially, and your kids are kind of the people who take care of you as you get older. But I am very excited potentially for our generation when we get older, because we have the internet and it's easier to stay in contact with people, so we're just gonna be very old people, like,
and then we have
DMing
puppies,
each other,
and the puppies will take care of me. They will bring me food with their snouts, and I'll be like,
the like super advanced technological puppies or just regular puppies?
Mixed. So they are
okay.
Half robot, half puppy.
Okay.
What? Okay, no, listen, something else about loneliness.
Okay, something useful.
No, what to do? Come on, some sort of solution.
Honestly, like, you have to talk to people. Like,
Yeah.
but it's hard. That's the thing, because for you it's very easy to say just talk to people, because for you, so it's interesting to look at the kind of problem of loneliness from two different sides of the coin. For you, it's you have social skills and you're comfortable approaching people, but it's just an absence of people to spend time with, an absence of kind of good connections.
Yes.
And for me, I like when I was working at my last job, and I was with other people who I had loads in common with, and who, like, there was lots of like friendship potential out there, but I was just so shy that I couldn't. It was like, the metaphor of like the conversation ball, like someone like gently passes you the conversation ball and you just drop kick it like onto another county. So I was just too nervous to actually like make connections with the people that I was around.
I know. I mean.
And it makes no sense. It's so hard to imagine. Like, it's hard for me to imagine being you, and it's probably hard for you to imagine seeing it from my perspective as well.
I can understand it, what you are saying, that you get all like weird, nervous and stuff, but
Get all weird.
no, like
I know, like I do. Honestly, like there was a time period where I would just like veer into like really extreme conversation topics just out of like panic. Like I'd talk about like abortion or like war crimes and stuff like that. Just because like I would just be like, my brain would just like cycle through like talk about something.
But my love, I hope you're a bit better with that. Yeah, I think
could you just like do that? I am better.
No, but do you feel better when I'm around? Or
kind of, because I'm just like, I can just like tag you.
But you know what is very funny? That sometimes, because you are so smart and you know a lot of things, if we get into a conversation with someone specific and you start talking, I'm like, oh great. And then I don't have to talk and I just watch you.
That's because like I just like output dense, layered, fast information. But and also I work really hard at conversations. Like I try really hard. Like you're not gonna get any like how's the weather. I'm gonna like try and like say something at least useful. Which is why I end up talking about like really like controversial, inflammatory subjects, or just like really deep stuff. I'd be like, did you hear about like what happened when Azealia Banks went to Grimes and Elon Musk's house? Like I can give you like a blow by blow, tweet by tweet account of how that happened. And the other person is like, I asked for none of this. I asked you how you're doing, and now I'm going to be here for 15 minutes.
You do have a lot of information in your brain, my love. But sometimes it's also nice to just chillax, you know, be like,
I know.
Hey babe.
I also have a bad habit of describing memes to people. And also like a lot of the people I used to work with weren't very internety people, so you have to describe a lot when you're, and then got to the point where I have it here somewhere.
Were they jóvenes?
I had a meme jar that I had to put money into every time I tried to verbally describe a meme to someone, because they're a visual format. They don't work when you describe them. And
were you rich after
it was my own money.
After a day.
I think, okay, so what to do if you are suffering from loneliness?
It's what you are saying. If you're feeling super lonely, don't be scared. Go out there. And what you said at the beginning of the video, you might be taking things wrongly. Because this is something super important that happened to me and I want to share. When I was very lonely, I was more... I forgot the word. I would get angry faster. And I would look at people and think like, oh, they are looking at me weird. Yeah, I was defensive. I was super defensive. And the only reason why I thought everyone was against me or whatever is because I was projecting my own sadness, my own loneliness, and my own self-hate into other humans. And I was projecting it, so it was coming back to me. And I was the guilty person. I was the one that was creating this. And when I opened myself a bit more and I started to be like, okay, listen, you have a problem. Just talk to people normally. It's fine. I changed a lot and now I'm never defensive unless I'm extremely tired and it's like Thursday, 8 o'clock and my train has been cancelled. Then maybe I'm a bit more defensive, but that's very circumstantial.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely talk to people. Try to make connections and yes, I mean, call your mom or I don't know, call someone you love and tell them how you are. If you are suffering, talk to them. If you feel lonely, talk to them and say, you know what, I'm feeling a bit lonely and I just wanted to talk to you. Because that's okay.
So I think a big part of the loneliness problem is that loneliness is this very particular part of a very particular type of problem where there's a big stigma around saying that you're lonely, because if you're lonely, it feels like it's your fault.
Yes.
Because you can see all of these people around you that are like being friends and having a social life, and it kind of feels like if I was like more interesting, or if I was cooler, if I was more charismatic, then I shouldn't have this problem. And it's really, really hard to admit that you're lonely, because I guess, and this is a really harsh piece of language, but it kind of makes you feel pathetic. I think that's a big painful part of experiencing loneliness is that you feel like you failed somehow. And I think that's why it can be so hard to admit to someone that you're feeling lonely, or reach out to someone on the basis of the fact that you're lonely.
Something super important about what you're saying, because when I feel lonely, I think that I'm super needy, and that I'm like expecting too much, and that I should be independent and I should be fine by myself. That's wrong. We all need human interaction. We are social creatures.
Yes, this was like a really important thing from the video, is that so loneliness evolved from early humans basically knowing that they needed to live in groups to survive. And loneliness, they describe it as like social pain. So if you are experiencing physical pain, like you're feeling like a lot of heat on your hand, you know that you're close to a fire, so you need to move away from the fire. If you're experiencing a lot of loneliness, that means you're far away from a social group and you need to get closer to the social group.
Exactly. It's a way your body is telling you there's something wrong.
It's not just like a neediness or like a character flaw. It's a literal need that your body is like
it's
sending
a human
you signals. Yes,
need, like food. And that's why it can kill you. They said this was extreme. They said feeling lonely for years is the same as smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day.
I think they like linked to like whatever the study was, so they like qualified the statement, because that sounds absolutely crazy.
It is all. This was very important. Like it's all like justified, and it has statistics, and it has been whatever studied. Insane.
Yeah. Another thing on basically a piece of advice for someone who is trying to kind of deal with their own loneliness and dealing with maybe feeling a bit socially awkward. I was given this piece of advice from the like third therapist that I saw, and I really liked her because she kind of had a way of explaining things that it didn't sound like she was being kind of like pitying or feeling sorry for me. She kind of like would say things in kind of a tough like kind of tough love sort of a way. And she said that the way that you see the world is kind of childish, and that kind of made me sit up and pay attention, because she was being kind of critical of me. And she explained that when you're a small child, you see yourself as the center of the world, and you see yourself as the reason for why everything is happening. Like if a child's parents are fighting, then they think that it's their fault. So for me, I was kind of holding myself accountable for like, oh, people don't like talking to me, people don't want to like invite me to things, people don't like, basically like I'm on my own because it's my fault. But if I look at it from another perspective, I also wasn't kind of like reaching out to other people, making myself seem friendly and approachable, giving other people a chance to get to know me. I also like wasn't showing up for a lot of stuff, like I wouldn't go out for drinks after work or anything like that. So on the other side of it, it's like it wasn't necessarily like other people rejecting me, it was also me not making myself available to other people and kind of giving other people a chance to get to know me as well. And I found that very, very helpful, because that way I wasn't always like, oh, that went really badly. And like sometimes other people are awkward. Sometimes the social interaction goes weird because the other person is awkward.
Yes, we are all awkward. We are all trying our best.
I just would assume that I'm just like peak awkward and that everyone else is less awkward than I am. But now I know that other people are also extremely awkward. We're all just punting the conversation ball all over the place, trying to make connections.
My love, it's fine. We are awkward sometimes, and that's why the word awkward exists, because it's so cool. I love being awkward and weird. I love it. No, I don't. I feel bad.
Again. That's it.
Yeah, so this was our opinion. If you want to like have a very technical and visually lovely explanation of loneliness, we're gonna leave the link to this other video in the description. And yeah, give us your opinion about loneliness, and if you ever feel lonely or whatever, and we will reply.
It's very serious.
No, I don't know, so I can't. And we will reply to you in the comments down below. So yeah, thank you very much.
And bridge our collective loneliness.
Thank you very much for watching, and we see you in the next video. Did you say bye?
I did.